Alright, welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We are taking on Shady Shiquido here, and we're gonna go with the Edelgard team. I've been trying to figure out what configuration is best for her for Ether Raids. For SD, it's pretty straightforward what you want to use with her, but for Ether Raids, I'm having a ton of trouble, as I expected, with taking out Rhea, which is why I told everyone to pull for Rhea. But I think if you run Fatal Smoke on her, you probably have a better chance of winning that miracle check. But also, I don't know, you lose the warping, but then also you can't warp, so I think, I don't know what if it's worth it or not. I mean, you could just give her the Synchro Ring if you're having problem with movement, or even the Celica Ring if you're missing the warping, so I'm not quite sure what configuration, or maybe, you know, just give up on that idea overall and have someone else take care of Rhea if I find that unit that can do so. But I don't know, I haven't figured that out yet. Still thinking about it. It'll be solved at some point. But yeah, just finished summoning on that bunny banner specifically to spark for Veil, and I sparked for Veil. I got really lucky in terms of the summoning session. I got a ton of 5 stars that I don't care about, that I didn't want. I got a Gulzus for whatever reason. I got another copy of female Brave Robin, which I've just been merging at this point because I don't know what else to do with her as a unit. So I've just been merging all my copies of her. Fodder isn't great, can't do anything to her B skill because it's locked, and Flare, you know, I'm not quite sure what else to do with her, so I'm just merging my copies. We'll see, might be a +10 project, who knows. Hopefully they fix her. Well, her B skill isn't going to be fixed by the time the refine comes around, so, and her B skill is, what does her B skill even do? Is it the is that where the Husk Spectrum is? I can't remember, but I would love to potentially swap that out for something else. I don't like her B skill, really. I don't really like it, but I think that's where the Husk Spectrum is, so that might not be worth removing. Anyways, yeah, SDR was a whole pain in the butt because, oh, I did already record that segment. It's going to be after this, so I don't want to like go over too much of it, but there was one thing that I probably didn't emphasize on as much as or expound upon as much as I wanted to when I was doing the recording. Felix, why did you go there? I wanted to see if I could get Layla here to do some work in Surya, although I doubt it would have been much. I think we got this though. I think we can get through. I think we have enough to be able to figure this out. I just gotta play it right. This, I really gotta get rid of Claude, but this, what's her face? This Rhea doesn't have as much support as the other one did, so I'm sure Edelgard can maybe get through here, which is why I brought this team. But we'll figure it out. No worries, it should be able to get done. Anyways, so yeah, one of the things that I didn't expound upon that I really wanted to expound upon a little bit more is that for SDR, it's, I learned from this session that it's not recommended to take what you're coming across in regular whoa, voice crack. What you're coming across in regular favored duels into too much consideration when you're actually going to go into into SDR, into the competitive game aspect of it. I was seeing a ton of Sakura, Yunaka, Furum combinations, or Rhea, or, you know, some other far save that's really good. I was seeing a ton of that combination, so that's what I planned for, and that's what I built my team around, to really counter the whole Sakura mechanic. But then when you go into the competitive summoner duels are, I didn't really come across any of that. And what it got me thinking, or what it made me realize, is that if most people are only going to be bringing one team into SDR, it's going to be the team that they're most comfortable with, and it's going to have units that they've already invested in, and units that they've already built a team around. So since this Sakura pasta is so new, it probably isn't going to be as common or as readily accepted or adopted. Everyone isn't going to pick up on it right away for this SDR. I think maybe for future SDRs it'll probably become a little bit more common, but for this one, I shouldn't have planned my team around countering that, which is something that I did not consider. I probably, like hindsight, probably should have stuck with a Sita team, because what I ended up fighting was something that Sita would have done exceptional against, and also the units that were supporting Sita on that team would have done just as well there. Yeah, so that was one thing. And also the team that I ended up bringing with Xander wasn't a bad team. Xander is not a bad unit, and the team that I built around him wasn't bad. It's just that some of the pieces, particularly the range units, I would have changed or just not have changed, because you still need the 5 units. I would have changed them if I had thought that through a little bit more. I would have brought something specifically for Sigurd, because that is my biggest problem right now. And I think what'll happen moving forward is that Sigurd will eventually start dying. Well then. HR banner, so maybe no. But I think he might start dying out a little bit more, or maybe he'll just get to a point where we'll have more units that counter him. I don't think we're going to get that many more units that can counter Sigurd. I don't think we're going to get maybe like 2 to 3 more before the year closes, because I don't think they don't typically like to power creep, and also because of the AoE, it's difficult to completely power creep his playstyle. So I think he should be fine. I think it's still okay to plan your team building around beating Sigurd. So yeah, that's what I have done by putting on this banner for Veil specifically, so that I have another option, which is what I said. I want another option. Also, I could have just brought a different team. I could have just not brought Fjorm. Man, there's... back to the original point. I would have done a lot of things differently had I realized that I did not have to, or I should not have built my team composition against what is the newest thing in the meta, or the thing that you're coming across the most in SD, regular vanilla SD favor. Don't build your team composition, especially for SDR. This is more specific for SDR. If it's SDS, then it's good to have several teams, because everyone else is going to have several teams. But for SDR, you have one team, and if you're coming against something that's like really common in regular favor battles, it's probably not going to be pretty common or heavily common in SDR when you go into the actual competitive aspect of the game mode, because you're really playing sweats, especially when it's the week of SDR. You're really playing against sweats who are trying to fine-tune openings and mechanics, and trying to figure out who to slot into which
message received
position on the team to get the current meta strategy to work effectively and consistently. That's who you're playing against. But when you go into actual SDR, the competitive mode, you're not going to be put against them as often. Unless you're just having a really terrible run where all you're playing is Master, Diamond, A players. That's just bad luck. I don't know what to say about that. But otherwise, especially for SDR, it's not the most popular game mode, or it's the least popular of the two, SDR and SDS. So there isn't that much to pull from in terms of a player base, and the player base that is there isn't going to be playing that hyper competitive meta strat that you would have been seen in regular favor. They're just using their favorites to get through, and they don't have or don't want to use the most powerful newest units. So yeah, that was a big oversight on my part. Hopefully I brought that point across accurately in terms of what I was trying to say. But yeah, that I would have done things differently there. But overall, it really boiled down to I played poorly, because the team that I did bring was still strong enough to do the job, could have got me through. Because why bring it if it's not working, you know? but really it boils down to I really played bad.
Your story is over.
And I got beat deservedly so. The opponents took advantage of my ignorance or my bad plays, and they beat me deservedly so. And no complaints there. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that. Kind of, you know what's weird, and it's the thing that once you've won, it's kind of difficult to find the motivation to do it again. So once you've hit rank 1, what's your motivation to hit rank 1 again? And after hitting rank 1 before in SDR, I was playing the game mode, or at least this season, I was kind of like, maybe I should have went into SDR after, like, you know, hyping myself up a little bit more to actually go out and play. But I wasn't like focused or in the zone as I was the last time that I played. So I don't know. Excuses? Not excuses. I don't think. No, these not excuses. Just legitimate reasons for why I played. Reasons and lessons that I learned from this SDR. We'll take them into consideration in the future. Whenever, or maybe I'll just forget this whole conversation that I'm having. Maybe I'll forget this whole thing and do the same thing again. Who knows? But if any of the advice strikes you as good advice, definitely take it into consideration. Especially since there's at least 3 days left. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 3 days left for you to play. So, think about that. Queue times, again, very slow queues. I had like minute and a half, 2 minutes wait time before loading into a match. So, yeah, SDR is not not that many players, or at least maybe the ones that play SDR, I don't know. It just felt like there's just not that many players playing SDR. I don't know what to say about it. It just not that you're gonna have to be a little bit, which is probably a good thing. I mean, you're less likely, because most of the competitive players are going to play on the first day because they just can't wait to get it out of their system, and they've been practicing the whole time. So a lot of them play on the first day, which also
Your orders?
like you could see from the people who hit rank 1 that I'll show at the end. A lot of them play on the first, but it's not that many. I think how many, like 50 or 60 hold on that page? 50 people out of a player base of I don't know how much. Top 1,000. You can hit top 1,000 by being a master. So 50 out of 1,000. That's still a lot of players, but here we go. Alrighty, so let's go over the SDR matches. Let me vent my frustration against Sigurd, which is pretty much what you're going to see in the majority of these SDR matches. It did not go swimmingly, even though I kind of started the matches thinking, like, why am I even doing this? What is my motivation? I had that existential crisis going into this round of SDR, trying to figure out exactly what I was trying to achieve by playing these matches. Admittedly, did not play well, and that's what led to the outcome that you will be viewing quite shortly. After just looking at these awesome people here who made it to the top, Eon here barely missed it out, man. Just one win away. It's so unfortunate, but again, played really well. Way better than I did. And then you'll see a lot of the usual names. A lot of people haven't played it. It's Friday night, Friday morning, early Friday morning reset. So a lot of people just haven't played it. That's why you're not seeing a ton of people on the leaders board. Optimal kit for Edelgard. That's really what you want to be doing with her, but man, that's expensive fodder. Well, really, it's just a Brave Alphonse. Chloe here, I really liked her when she came out, but I don't know what to do with her anymore. She's just kind of picking up dust in my barracks. But I still really like her. It'll be interesting 3 years from now to see what happens to her. But yeah, here, a lot of the similar names that you've all seen before. Oh, look at this. I knew it would be plus 10. So, interesting. I went into this SDR thinking that I'd be coming across a lot more Unakas. And man, like playing Favor, just regular Favor, really skews your perception about what you're going to encounter when you come into SDR. And I'm only going to go through the losses here because there's more to talk about from those than from anything else. But yeah, it really skews your perception because this team configuration is really set up to counter Yunaka and that warping stuff that Sakura brought. But I didn't come across any of it. So, it's like I planned for no reason. I planned for something that I didn't even face. I ended up just playing a ton of Sigurds and Treeman. Treeman, what can we do? There's no counters. You just gotta deal with it. I could have won this. All of these losses are matches that I could have won if I played better. Like this, I automatically knew that I messed up as soon as I ended her turn. And I was like, oh man, you weren't supposed to be here. Because 2 units here have save Bernadetta and Fjorm because of Treeman. And Bridget here is eating a ton of debuffs. Bridget is only here because to counter Fjorms, but again, there were no Fjorms. Playing favor battles, again, not a good representation of what you're going to come across in terms of SDR, at least. In SDS, I think it's good to practice, but for SDR, I don't think it's good to make your teams based off what you're coming across in SDR, because it really limits you in terms of, it's not, a lot of the player base doesn't play there. You're really just playing against some of the higher tier players, and it's not common that you're going to come across those higher tier players is kind of what I draw from this session. So this team was like built for something that I didn't even play against, and it just ended up not working out in my favor. A lot of the losses weren't really because of that, but then if I had known that going in, I probably would have built the team differently, or I probably would have just ran the Sita team, because it wouldn't have lost to a lot of the Sigurd compositions that I came across. All of them, it wouldn't have lost to Sigurd at all. But yeah, Sigurd here, which is one of the first losses. I also wanted to really highlight Xander, who I'm probably going to be using a lot more going forward. He has gone from non-existent to an actual unit in my eyes. And this, oh my god, this. So the ice is here, right? And I ended turn forgetting that Sigurd can move the extra spaces. Well, not even forgetting, because the block was broken, I forgot to check his range after the block break, and I didn't set up the ice. And essentially, that's why I lost this one. And then also, Bridget failed to take out Edelgard because debuffs, and also 25% weapon condition. None of her stuff was active, so that's an automatic loss there. Again, Sigurd just being an ultimate pain. Again, I would not have picked this team if I had known that it would have just been so much Sigurd. It was picked with a mixture in mind of trying to chase down, but also cover myself against the Yunaka comps. The aggressive opening is really to cover ground with Xander so that I can get to wherever Sakura might be with the team composition there. That's why the opening is so aggressive. But man, it's just none of it, like literally none of it I came across. Just a bunch of trees and Sigurd. And Ira here and there. Ira isn't even the worst thing in the world. The reason that I lost this one was because, again, Bridget was just so heavily debuffed because of Micaiah. Micaiah really won them this match, and she could not take out Ira here, and that was my gamble, to take out Ira with Bridget, but the debuffs kind of killed her. I probably would have, again, not brought Bridget, because Bridget is really here to take out Fjorm, or maybe Blue Neathogger sometimes, but it just, with the potent support, she does really well. But again, it just, the debuffs, the Micaiahs, the Tree Man, the Sabotage, it just wasn't really working out for me. Again, I would have brought a different team, and that team would have done way better. I would have just brought Sita, and I would have done way better. But then also, I kind of wanted to change it up. I feel like I depend on that Sita team too much. So I feel like this was I feel like I'll probably use this Xander composition moving forward. I'm probably going to invest into Xander a bit more, since, again, I was saying I had no green units that really, aside from Erica, that could do a job. I had no real green units. I feel like Xander is going to fill that gap for me. Unfortunate that he's a legendary, but I don't really have a lot of other options in that regard. He's very good on enemy phase, so that's why I feel like I'm probably going to rely on him moving forward from here. Again, Sigurd. So essentially, remember how I said that I'm gonna pull for Vale because I don't have to deal with Sigurd anymore? Well, this pretty much secured it for me. Because the reason that Bernadetta is here is so that I can get vantage against Sigurd in the event that the AoE hits, because Xander can take him out, but what ends up happening is that debuffs, man, like, so annoying. And then also this match here, I knew that Fjorm would die because of Micaiah Astra. Very consistent. But I didn't break any of the blocks. That block right there, the one that I was pointing at, I didn't break that intentionally on the previous turn because I knew that if I broke it, Sigurd. So what do? With this block, I break this block, and then I lose. What I should have done was I should have broken the block in front, and I would have been safe. Xander would have been okay with taking on Sigurd from there, but the problem is I had no openings to get into and attack the opponent. And then what could have potentially happened is that Sabotage from Nithauger would have inflicted mid-turn and then more damage from the AoE, and I would have, again, lost because of Sigurd. So, yeah, Bernadetta would not have been on this team comp. I would have replaced, or I'm probably going to replace her with Vale since I don't have to deal with Sigurd because of that. There were other options. I had other options, but I decided to go with Bernadetta because of the range, and that's what Vale also kind of. I don't lose out on the range by bringing Vale in, whereas the other options that I was looking at, I would have lost out on the range. So, yeah, my opponents played very well in the sense that they punished me with Sigurd. They really did. They really punished me with Sigurd, man, and I am just so over it. I'm immediately going to go someone on that banner, and I'm going to spark Vale if I don't get her. Ugh.